Let's talk Israel. All the latest chaos surrounding the nation of Israel. Far-right Israeli minister Itamar Ben-Gvir prays at Al-Aqsa, violating decades-old agreement. He's done this multiple times, pretty much with every feast. Every time he goes up there and prays, chaos ensues, violation of the agreement. Jews cannot pray there, only Arabs. Does that even sound right or fair? Considering it's the Jews' holiest site, not the Muslims' holiest site. But again, the enemy's attack and onslaught against Israel. Far-right Israeli National Security Minister Ben-Gvir visited and prayed at Jerusalem's most sensitive holy site on Sunday, yesterday, triggering a wave of regional condemnation and sparking fear of further escalation in tensions. The provocative move came as Israeli attacks continue across the Gaza Strip. Fears of escalation. What are they going to do when they're done praying? Are they going to daven? Are they going to raise their hands? Are they going to bring some animals to slaughter? What might they do? Are they going to read from a Torah scroll? Oh no, just not that. The horror. Really. It's ridiculous. Colonel Hetzi Nahama, the war in Gaza can be won within a month. Now, I like what this guy had to say. After nearly 2 years of war, Colonel Hetzi Nahama has emerged as one of the most vocal critics of the IDF's current strategy against Hamas, sharply condemning what he sees as stagnation on the ground in Gaza. With decades of experience in IDF operations, his analysis carries authority and frustration. He believes the war against Hamas can be won and won swiftly through decisive, aggressive strategy that goes beyond what they're currently doing. He is deeply critical of the cautious tactics being employed and advocates for a forceful ground campaign with fewer restraints. Let the army do what they need to do, and it can be done. He also argues that Hezbollah's weakened posture in the north makes it possible for Israel to shift forces south, enabling a full-scale ground operation in Gaza. Nahama proposed a strategy that includes deploying 4 to 5 IDF divisions simultaneously across northern, central, and southern Gaza, occupying every area and eliminating Hamas fighters as they find them, relocating civilians to humanitarian zones to isolate Hamas, and enforcing a blockade of Hamas-controlled areas. Excellent strategy. Definitely, in my opinion, would work. Are they doing it? No. This could have been done already. UN data, nearly 90% of Gaza aid is intercepted before reaching the intended recipients. 90%. The vast majority of aid entering is taken away from the civilians in the latest released data from the United Nations. According to figures tracking humanitarian assistance for Gaza from May to August this year, out of 2,010 UN trucks carrying 27,500 tons of aid collected from any of the crossings of Gaza's perimeter, only 260 trucks, 4,000 tons, reaches the intended destination. That equates to an 87% loss of the trucks and the tonnage. Now, to give you an idea here, 23,000 tons of food and aid went into Gaza in the last week. 1,200 trucks just in the last week. But they say Israel is running a blockade and not allowing aid to get to the people in Gaza. And people are listening to this false narrative and laying more blame at the feet of Israel and the Jews. Not Hamas, not the UN, not any other factors. Israel. Hamas mimics the Nazis, releasing horrific photos and videos of starving Israeli hostages. As the left, the media, Hamas and the Palestinians screech and deflect over the mostly non-existent starving children in Gaza, Hamas is releasing pictures of Israeli hostages from October 7 who are emaciated as if they were in Nazi death camps. Is the world crying out about that? No. Unusual footage. Terrorists exit a tunnel shaft and surrender. IDF spokesperson published unusual footage showing Hamas terrorists coming out of the hole and surrendering to the IDF and leading them to caches of weapons. During the operation, several terrorists emerged from the shaft. They confessed that they had planned to flee after another terrorist who had been with them was killed in a clash with the IDF, and they surrendered. But now, on the verge of making a deal, having hostages released, coming to a ceasefire and bringing everything to an end that everybody wants, the whole world started bleating again about Israel needs to be held accountable and they want a two-state solution seen and realized immediately. So rewarding Hamas. Immediately, Hamas is not interested in making a deal anymore, and now they're holding out. They're empowering Hamas to extend the chaos, which is why I'm leaning towards the colonel saying just send them in and do the job and get it done, because you're never going to make a deal with these people. Hamas says it won't disarm unless an independent Palestinian state is established. They said it on Saturday, and a fresh rebuke to a key Israeli demand to end the war in Gaza. Indirect negotiations between Hamas and Israel aimed at securing a 60-day ceasefire in the Gaza war and release of hostages ended in a deadlock because of what the rest of the nations are screaming about. On Tuesday, Qatar and Egypt, who are mediating the ceasefire efforts, endorsed a declaration by France and Saudi Arabia outlining steps to a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and saying that as part of this, Hamas must hand over its arms to the Western-backed Palestinian Authority. Again, terrorists must give their weapons to terrorists. In the statement, Hamas, which has dominated Gaza since 2007, and its military battered by Israel in the war, said it could not yield its right to armed resistance unless an independent, fully sovereign Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital is established. Israel considers the disarmament of Hamas a key condition for any deal to the end of the conflict. But Hamas said repeatedly they are not willing to lay down their weapons. So now you know what they're saying they're not willing to do. You have it from the horse's mouth. You have it confirmed. Hand over everything to the colonel and let him go in and wipe this out and get it done once and for all. The civilians will be better off. Everyone would be better off. Will it happen? No. Probably not. Pray for Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for people to start making correct decisions. Pray for the hostages that are still alive, emaciated, tortured, and struggling inside that place in little hellhole situations used as leverage against Israel. Pray that more and more people come to a saving grace knowledge of Jesus Christ, and pray for more Jews to discover him in the Tanakh, the Old Testament, and turn to him while there is still time to miss out on Daniel's 70th week and Jacob's trouble, which is at the door. God bless. Keep looking up. Shalom.